Hello everyone, GreymanX6 here, and it's time to film my December 2023 pickups, and there was quite a lot, so I'm going to have to split it up into two. The other one is going to be a couple special somethings, but for now, let's get all the Marvel stuff right out of the gate, because I found a lot of cool stuff around here, except Rocket here. He was a little splurge online, saw a price drop on Mercari. I just wonder what, he's got better articulation than the one I had before. No double jointed ankles and knees. I mean, it would be pretty hard to do it on something so small. But he can hold his big ass gun way more easily than the last one. Good head rotation. Little torso cut. A swivel. Ooh, even little pivoting on the ankles. Very nice. And nice detailed costume, even if it's the more movie-centric one. Anyway, what did I have before? It was actually... This wasn't a Marvel Legends, and his tail came off. I'm going to have to find that, because I'll probably give this away. This was from Avengers Infinity War, not the Marvel Legends, the more 5-inch scale one's meant for kids to play with. And yet, he's a little bit taller than an actual Marvel Legends, but whatever. Alright. And sadly over here, there was a great toy store that just went out of business out of the blue at the start of the new year. But when I was there last time, I was able to blow about $100 on some good finds. Okay, we got this trio. We'll start with Mystique. This is the Walgreens one. I had considered getting the cartoon version with the darker blue skin that was almost navy blue, because I saw a couple instructional videos of how to take some acetone or whatever and a Q-tip and remove all the cell shading bullshit. But I just saw this for $5 to $10 less of what she usually goes for online, and she ended up replacing the Toy Biz one. Quite a bit taller, definitely. The boobs don't stick out in a very awkward manner. There were some good female Toy Biz figures, like Shadowcat, but this just wasn't one of them. One thing this one has over the Marvel one is we got bicep swivel and, of course, articulated fingers, but what can you do? You got these gummy legs, it's too shorter, she's kind of got a blank expression, while this one just more dynamic. Yet this one makes me think of the cartoon Mystique, this facial sculpt, more than the one that actually came with the cel-shaded toon version. You do got a little gumminess here too, and of course it was before we had double-jointed, pinless elbows and, again, bicep swivel, but whatever. At the price I was able to get her for, I just couldn't pass it up. Now, the other third of the 100 I blew at that place before it closed, lady who was just on about every top 10 list for 2023, Spiral, and knowing how expensive the other one is, I never bothered to add her to my collection, but when I saw the revamp coming out, I was like, okay, I'm listening. I mean, there's just so much going on here. I mean, this one does have the pinless, double-jointed elbows. 6 of them. Weapons for all her hands. Very good facial sculpt. Nice, luscious locks of flowing white hair. Could use a bit more paint. I mean, maybe more of a wash for the fur on the boots. But what you have here is impressive. This belt piece, you got a little silver paint there. Very nice detail on the pouches. Gotta have pouches, because, 80s and 90s. I mean, maybe they could have gone an extra mile, but what you got here for the price hike for $25, it more than justified it here. One of the few in 2023 that did, because I'm not jumping on the Marvel and Disney and Hasbro hate brigade, but, well, maybe for Hasbro, because of all the fucking layoffs and the price hikes, Yeah, 2023 was a rough year for Marvel Legends, but this was one of the bright spots. See if I can put her here and she won't... Come on, Spiral, work with me. Now, let's talk about Sandman. I had 8 other Spider-Man villains on my shelf previously. There's some I just don't give a shit about. Kraven, Vulture, Electro, Tombstone, White Rabbit, who, by the way, in the comics now is working with Tombstone. Don't know how that's going. I gotta catch up on Game Lore, but... What's that? Nah. I got all the big players. Green Goblin, Dr. Octopus, Venom, Lizard, Black Cat. There really wasn't add any more to that octet, except maybe Sandman. But which Sandman? That 2017 Build-A-Figure, that one that's even bigger and meaner looking and more detailed? They had him there. But to make my dollar stretch a little farther, I went with this one, and it's not bad. I mean, no details like the belt on the other one, but what you have here is good, and no... Well, it is pinless joints up here. Down here, not so much. And they reused a lot of Hydro Man's body, but what's here is very good. I mean, you got detailing like laces and stuff on the shoes. You even see a bit of tread on there. Not the best paint detail in a Marvel Legends figure, but it gets the job done. Not as much like wash and stuff to bring out the depth and detail of the sand parts, but it gets the job done. And considering that he goes like to 40 to 50 now on eBay, I'm glad I got him at the price I did. So yeah, he's just chilling on the villain shelf, even though he hasn't really been a villain since the 90s, right? I mean, he was once worked for Silver Sable, and nowadays he doesn't seem to know what side he's supposed to be on. And recently in Iron Man comics, he's in prison protecting War Machine while he's been framed for murder, although he is doing it on Kingpin's payroll. So yeah, I don't know what the deal with Sandman is these days, but whatever. Glad to have his figure. As for other local finds, let's address the big green elephant in the room back there. If I can pick him up without... Mystique, really? Yeah, another Marvel Select Hulk. This is my third one, the Unleashed one. I do have the generic Hulk from around that time, and I've got the Endgame Hulk with the Infinity Gauntlet. But this is the one that's going to replace the former on my shelf. I mean, he's not as big and bulky, but I like that. Less bulky than, say, Juggernaut or Abomination, which I already have the selects for, but you still know he's going to hold his own against him, and then some. And his teeth aren't gritted like that other one. No displays of, like, overt anger, but you can see it just boiling under the surface, and that expression. I liked versions of the Hulk where Sandman really... where Bruce Banner's intelligence still bleeds through, and I get that sense here, like he's contemplating just how badly he's going to beat your ass. If he's going to do something like do the car half boxing glove trick that he did in Ultimate Destruction and ultimately his 2008 movie. So yeah, this is going to be my go-to Hulk from now on. I might give my other Marvel Select Hulk away. She's got a kid who absolutely adores the Hulk. He even had a Hulk-themed birthday party, so I'll just give it away. I'll still have my other movie Hulk with the... well, all sorts of shit going wrong here. Come on, people. Work with me. Work with me. Alright, let's get on to some other forms of media. This is something I found at Ollie. I went there to I was able to grab the Age of Apocalypse Rogue for a friend of mine I was going to see. She's in Mississippi, so yeah, give her another character who's famously from Mississippi, and like her, likes to solve problems by punching people. So I just picked this up. It's haven't busted the plastic yet, but I figured... I remember back in the 90s there was a Archie crossover with the Punisher of all Marvel characters, so... when it comes DC's turn, with like weird anti-heroes like Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy, it somehow just made sense, so I figure that's gonna be a hoot and a holler. And who can forget? Movies! I mean, Target and Walmart and Best Buy, they're all stopping physical media releases soon. It's like Christopher Nolan, I think, Guillermo del Toro said, we need to start buying more physical media in case even more shit gets pulled from streaming platforms. People, come on, stop falling over. So yeah, toward the end of 2023, I ended up doing that. This is actually the first physical version of a DC movie I've bought since Justice League. The theatrical 2017 Justice League. I mean, yeah, I get all the critics' complaints that it just seemed boilerplate superhero movie, competent enough, but in this day and age it just doesn't stand up. But it was still a good time, even though I knew very little about the character. What little I did know about all the Blue Beetles, I was able to just go fluid. It's like, oh, they did this, oh, they did that. So yeah, that was fun. Then we get to one of my absolute favorites from 2023, other than Guardians of the Galaxy 3 and Godzilla -1. We have Indiana Jones 5. I know a lot of people like whoa, it's too woke, go bro, Disney's Lucasfilm sucks now. I'm like, bull fucking shit. Might be my favorite of the entire series. No joke. I mean, yeah, it's the only one that's not directed by Steven Spielberg, but bringing in James Mangold instead, who directed Logan, another movie about a beloved character facing end-of-life issues and just getting cantankerous old age and wondering what it was all for, was it worth it? That was a stroke of genius. I loved it. And all the times about, the new female character stole the bullshit. Indiana Jones's wisdom and expertise was still very much needed, and I just had a good time with the deal. My only complaint? No short round. In a time when that actor's clout has risen again, thanks to Everything Everywhere All at Once, that seemed like a really glaring omission, but it's my only real complaint about an otherwise excellent movie. And on that trip I mentioned, I also took my father to see relatives in Alabama, and on the way back, cutting through the back country roads to cut into the middle of Georgia, I had to stop at a Dollar Tree, and I saw this, so why not? This was kind of an average disaster movie, but hey, for $1.25, why not? Build up your physical media library, after all. And when I was back home, and I went to the flea market hoping to find a new vacuum cleaner, since something happened to my old one, and it was kind of old anyway. I did look around, didn't find any good game finds, but I found this I'd been looking for. Something else I had been missing from digital streaming platforms until they released the 4K remaster. And even now on streaming platforms, I don't, at least on like Vudu and stuff, I didn't see the special edition that adds like 30 minutes or something. I'd never actually seen this, and I missed the chance to see it when it came back into theaters, so for just $1, you can't go wrong. And now we get to the games. Okay, like I said, first I went to Mississippi, and after seeing my friend in Pascagoula, I hopped over to Biloxi. There was a game exchange there, and I found this. I played the demo of this before, but I really wasn't interested, all that motivated to really get into it, because, you know, it's a completely new timeline and stuff, and I'm more of a classicvania guy. But besides, since I've played most of the old Castlevanias in the old timeline, and with Konami being Konami and couldn't even fucking get that mobile thing released properly, and it got relegated to Apple Arcade, and I don't have an Apple device, thanks a fucking lot for fucking even that up. Might as well check this out, and now I got that. It's got the DLC. It's got the Mirror of Fate thing that was on 3DS. Yeah, that should be interesting. Then, before I left Alabama, there were two shops in the Birmingham area. The first was a dud, but this, I remember renting this. I'm not really that big into Star Wars, and I can count all the Star Wars games I own on one hand, including this one, but I do remember renting it, just like the original NES Star Wars and Super Empire Strikes Back and Super Return of the Jedi. I just remember having fun with this one. It was just a good first-person shooter and really utilized the source material to do some interesting things. I know that there's remasters now available, but I want to finish up this one in its original form. And lastly, on our midway point back home through Georgia, we stopped in a place called Albany. There was a place called All J. Alverson's. That's a great little barbecue place, by the way. But also, before leaving, I checked out this one game shop, and they had a lot of import stuff. It's like the Famicom and Super Famicom stuff they had. It was mostly stuff I already had, like the original Fire Emblem, Gunberry Goemon for the original Nintendo, that sort of thing. But then I saw this, which I realized I don't have any import N64 games. And I know this is basically 4-player Puyo Puyo, and I suck ass at Puyo Puyo. My buddy Twilight Prince 123 up in Kansas, I can whoop his ass in stuff like Tetris 2 or Dr. Mario, but in this, he will always stomp my balls flat. I've been meaning to take his N64 up there so you can play some stuff with him and his relatives, some 4-player madness, so getting this, and after I mod an N64 to take import games, I'm a glutton for punishment. It's gonna be a bloodbath, but whatever. Puyo Puyo Sun 64, my first import game. And that just about does it for my regular pickups for 2023. The other last two things? Oh, you'll see. You'll see.